In a world where everyone is striving to be seen, recognized, and labeled as important, the ego seems like a necessary companion on the road to success. We're encouraged to express ourselves, chase big dreams, and never settle for less. But Ryan Holiday, a sharp and insightful author, delivers a sobering truth. Our ego is the greatest enemy at every stage of life, during aspiration, success, and even in failure. Ego is the enemy isn't a dry sermon or a motivational cliche. It's a brutally honest mirror reflecting how ego, in the form of arrogance, delusion, or a need for validation, silently sabotages our potential, damages relationships, and hinders real growth. Drawing from ancient Stoic philosophy, real-life stories of generals, entrepreneurs, athletes, and artists, Holiday crafts a timeless, razor-sharp, and thought-provoking guide for anyone who seeks clarity, purpose, and sustained success. Holiday defines ego not as healthy self-esteem or confidence, but as a distorted, inflated sense of self-importance. It's the loud voice that says you're better than others, that you deserve more, and that you already know enough. Ego is the gap between who we are and who we pretend to be, and it manifests at every stage of life, when we're chasing dreams, when we finally succeed, and especially when we fall. At the beginning of any meaningful journey, a new project, career, or ambition, ego tends to show up as loud declarations, fantasies of fame, or a hunger to be someone. Holiday urges us to talk less, do more. Talking too much about our plans drains the energy we need to actually make things happen. Instead of focusing on who you want to be, focus on what you want to do. True impact comes from action, not from titles or applause. And throughout this journey, we must always remain students, because ego tells us we know enough, while true mastery demands constant learning. Holiday also warns against blind passion. While passion is often glorified, unchecked obsession can cloud judgment and lead to poor decisions. Purpose and realism, on the other hand, provide clarity, patience, and focused determination. One of the most powerful tools he introduces is the canvas strategy. Instead of seeking recognition, pave the way for others. By supporting others' success, you indirectly build your own path while learning and keeping ego in check. He also speaks about the power of restraint. Being able to endure insults, setbacks, or unfairness without letting your ego retaliate is a true form of strength. Great achievers like Jackie Robinson mastered this. Holiday urges us to get out of our own heads, to stop narrating a glamorous story about ourselves, to stay grounded in the present, and to avoid early pride. Even real accomplishments can breed arrogance, dull our sensitivity, and blind us to opportunities to grow. And ultimately, he reminds us that there's no substitute for hard work. Ideas are not enough. Perseverance, silent effort, and a willingness to grind are the only true paths forward. Ego craves shortcuts, but mastery is earned, never granted. When success finally arrives, ego becomes even more dangerous. It whispers that you are special, that rules don't apply to you, and that you've made it. But this is when we must be the most vigilant. Holiday reminds us, always remain a student. Even at the top, learn from everyone, rivals, critics, subordinates. The learning process never ends. He warns against telling ourselves a story, the myth that we always had a master plan, that we knew we would succeed. These narratives inflate our egos and distract us from what really matters, the work. He prompts us to ask, what is truly important to you? Ego often makes us chase things that don't align with our real values. Fame, attention, validation, and we waste precious energy in the process. With success comes entitlement, control issues, and paranoia. We may feel we deserve more than others, want to control every detail, or start fearing threats that aren't real. These are traps laid by the ego, and they often lead to self-destruction. Holiday emphasizes the need for self-management. Leadership isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. Ego prevents delegation, creates chaos, and ruins teams. He also warns about the disease of me, when individuals place their own needs above the team or mission. True greatness, he explains, comes from putting collective goals first, just as George Marshall once did. Lastly, he invites us to meditate on the immensity, to connect with something larger than ourselves, like the universe, history, or nature. This brings humility, a broader perspective, and relief from ego's pressure. Maintaining sobriety and success, Emotional sobriety, patience, and clear thinking is essential for making sound decisions and sustaining long-term progress, much like Angela Merkel did throughout her career. When things fall apart, the ego is both cause and amplifier. It tells us we didn't deserve to fail, that someone else is to blame, or worse, that we are now worthless. But Holiday offers a life-changing distinction: alive time or dead time. Every failure gives us two choices: to wallow in helplessness, dead time, or to use the pain as fuel to grow, alive time. Growth comes from the latter. He also stresses that effort is enough. We often judge ourselves based on external success, but true pride and resilience come from the integrity of our effort, from meeting our own standards regardless of outcome. Holiday introduces Fight Club moments, those dark, painful experiences that strip us down and force us to face the truth. These are moments of radical honesty and transformation. When facing failure, it's critical to draw a line. Ego wants revenge, to push harder, to deny reality. But wisdom lies in knowing when to stop, when to protect your integrity instead of digging a deeper hole. He encourages readers to keep their own scorecard, to measure success not by public approval, but by how closely you live up to your highest potential. That's the only scoreboard that matters. And perhaps the most profound advice of all: always love, not as a sign of weakness, but as a strength. Forgive. Let go. Don't let hatred or bitterness poison your spirit. Ego thrives on resentment, but healing requires humility and grace. Ego as the enemy is a powerful wake-up call, not against ambition, but against the illusions and emotional chaos ego brings. The battle with ego, Holiday reminds us, never ends. It's like sweeping the floor, something you must do every day to stay clean. The goal is not merely career success, but to become a better, more grounded, more peaceful person, humble, resilient, and self-aware. Ironically, these traits often lead to true success, while chasing success for its own sake only fuels dissatisfaction. Holiday's message is simple yet radical. You don't have to be loud to be great. You don't need applause to make a difference. You don't have to be someone to do something important. So talk less. Learn more. Work hard. Let go of the need to prove. Accept failure as part of the process. Recommit to what truly matters. Ego is the enemy, but you can win. Start today.